Hey, welcome back to another episode of Simple Truth Television. Today is a special day. Today is March 22nd, 2021. And the reason I say today's a special day is because not only is today the 81st day of the year, but today is a day that we see a lot of news stories in connection to the number 322, the number that connects to Skull and Bones, the secret society that comes from Yale. And no surprise that we get a very important news today from the world of basketball. The legendary Hall of Famer, Elgin Baylor, has passed away at the age of 86 on the 81st day of the year on 322. So, perfect day for a perfect ritual like this one. I want to talk about a couple of things that I've noticed about this man's death. Supposedly, they're saying that he died from natural causes, which we all know it's a lie. This man did not die naturally. This man was murdered by the Society of Jesus, the secret organization that takes pride in murdering their own people. And they also murder a lot of other people as well. But, they make sure that their own people go out by the numbers. If you guys are new here, what I'm about to talk about is a language known as gematria, which is the practice of coding numbers into words, names, and phrases. This is the code that's used to pretty much script everything in the mainstream media. It's also used to murder celebrities, and it's also used to script these same basketball games that you guys watch every single day. These players who eventually die by the code, their careers was also scripted by the code. And after you watch this video, it's going to be undeniable what I'm about to show you. You will have no doubt that not only are the Jesuits behind this man's death, but his entire career was rigged and scripted around this code. His entire career. One of the things I have to stop doing is I have to stop calling these people legends, because these people are not legends. They participated in rigged sports. Just like Kobe Bryant. I caught myself calling Kobe Bryant a legend when he passed away supposedly last year on January 26th, on his 157th day of his age. And I have to stop doing that because these people are not legends. If you haven't read my book, it's up here. You can see it up there. It's called The Killing Name. You should definitely read it. It talks a lot about the death of Kobe Bryant and his daughter Gianna Bryant. And I'll show the same patterns that I'm about to discuss in this video with his death. It's the same thing over and over again. So let's take a look at Mr. Elgin Baylor. So he passes away on the 81st day of the year, which is a number that also connects back to Kobe Bryant. Remember, he scored 81 points versus the Toronto Raptors. And his name Kobe Bean Bryant sums to 81 in gematria. I'll talk about that in a second, later down the video. But this man's death is connected to this number, and it's also connected to this, and the number's connected through his name, right? Elgin is 81. He dies on the 81st day of the year. Those of you familiar with Elgin Baylor, he is the former executive of the Los Angeles Clippers. And notice the gematria of the Los Angeles Clippers is sums to 81. So on the 81st day of the year, their executive, Elgin Baylor, passes away from natural causes, supposedly. And I'm also going to give out a sports pick today because, like I said, these games are also rigged by the same code. And I'm going to show you guys why today the Clippers are going to defeat the Atlanta Hawks. And the Atlanta Hawks head coach, Nate McMillan, he's going to fall to 8-1 for the season against the Los Angeles Clippers on the 81st day of the year. So we'll talk about that at the end of the video. But Mr. Elgin Baylor, he is a legendary, supposedly, a legendary Laker who wore the number 22. If you notice the thumbnail of this video, I picked a photo of him with Jerry West and legendary center Wilt Chamberlain, who supposedly scored 100 points for his career in a single game. He scored 100 points supposedly, but there's no video footages of anything, and there's no proof of it anywhere. But he's remembered for playing with those two other players, Jerry West and Wilt Chamberlain. And I'm also going to show how his death is also connected to those players. But let's talk about the number 22, which is a very important number to basketball. The term basketball sums to 22. And if you remember last year, the Spurs missed the playoffs. and they missed the playoffs after going to 22 consecutive playoffs. This is a very important number to basketball. Very important number. Like I mentioned, he died on 322, and the secret society Skull and Bones, they're identified by the number 322. So no doubt who's behind this ritual. It's not only these other secret societies like the Skull and Bones, but it's also the Jesuits. And this is the proof. So Mr. Elgin Baylor, he was born on September 16th, 1934. He dies 187 days after his birthday. And of course, Society of Jesus, Psalms 187. Elgin Baylor was actually born in Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C., Psalms 187. 187 is also known as the homicide code, right? It's the code used to murder people. This number shows up a lot. In 2018, a teenager from the Bronx, his name was Lizandro Guzman. You can look up this story. He was supposed to be stabbed to death by some gang members. But if you look at that story, that story is a complete hoax. Lizandro Guzman, he was 187 months old when he passed away. And his funeral, you can look this up. This is a fact. Actually, we can do it now. His funeral was held on 187th Street here in the Bronx. And it was held on June, I think it was June 20. I'll have to go back and look. It was the day leaving 187 days left in the year. So whenever that is, that's when his funeral was. So his funeral was on June 27th. The day leaving 187 days left in the year. This is the kid that was 187 months old, right? He was born November 11th, passed away on June 20th, 2018. If you measure from his date of birth to the day he died, it's 187 months. And they held his funeral on 187th Street. This is not a lie. And what's interesting about his death, his family at the funeral, they all wore New York Yankee jerseys. And you want to know why? It's because New York Yankees in gematria is sums to 187. I mean, who wears Yankee jerseys at a funeral? I mean, have you ever seen that? No. Supposedly, that's, the reason they said it was because that's his favorite baseball team. But no, it's because of this. Because New York Yankees sums to 187. Just like how he was 187 months old when he passed away. Like how his funeral was held on the day leaving 187 days left in the year. And like how his funeral was held in a church located on 187th Street. Because that's the number that connects to the Society of Jesus. They love that number. That is why Mr. Elgin Baylor is dead 187 days after his birthday. That is a very special number. And then the guys from Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C., sums to 187. Also sums to 1 to 56, just like Society of Jesus. Undeniable stuff here, folks. You gotta be really dumb to deny this stuff. But just to close out Mr. Lizandro Guzman, this is one of my favorite cases because it's so consistent to the number 187. Let's just measure from the day he was born. So we saw he was born on the 11th month, right? Killed in New York City, the 11th state, New York. He was born in 2002. Passed away in 2018 on June 20th. Right? He was 180. He was 9 days after his 187th month anniversary. Died 180. He was 187 days old. Months old, excuse me. And notice how many days. You know why they killed him 9 days after he turned 187 months? Is because he was 5,700 days old, right? The New York Yankees, which was supposed to be his favorite baseball team, go look up the box score on June 20th. The New York Yankees, supposed to be his favorite baseball team, won 5-7 over the Seattle Mariners that day. This stuff is really undeniable, folks, and it's sad this continues to happen, right? So look, the day that this man died, Lizandro Guzman, this was on June 20th, 2018. His favorite baseball team was the New York Yankees. The kid was 5,700 5,700 days old when he passed away. And his favorite baseball team wins 5-7 that same day he dies. And then his family all wear New York Yankee jerseys on the day leaving 187 days left in the year. But that's a different story for a different day. I just want to show you guys how they use this number over and over and over again. I'm tired of talking about the same number here, 187. Mr. LeBron James, who just faked his injury 80 days after his birthday. He's out indefinitely. I just made a video on him. You can check that out. Today is LeBron James' 83rd day of his age. And, of course, Murder sums to 83, right? The song Murder by Numbers came out in 1983. You guys all should know that by now. Murder's also 79, the 22nd prime. So we have number 22 dead on LeBron James' 83rd day of his age. And the reason LeBron James matters is because, again, Elgin Baylor was a legendary Laker. And everybody that dies this year and connected to the NBA is going to be somehow, some way connected to LeBron James, the face of the NBA. The commissioner is Adam Silver. He was born April 25th, 1962. Today is 331 days after his birthday, the 67 prime. Blood sacrifice is 67. Human sacrifice is also 67. Notice the 86. Blood sacrifice and human sacrifice is 86. That's how old Elgin Baylor is, well, was today. He died at the age of 86. And for one more 67, he's remembered for playing alongside Jerry West, who was born on May 28th. Jerry West, right? Let's measure from today to Jerry West's upcoming birthday. So today is 3/22. Jerry West was born on 5/28. So Mr. Elgin Baylor, he died 67 days before Jerry West's upcoming birthday. Before Jerry West's 83rd birthday. And Murder's 83, right? So 67 days before Jerry West's birthday, the man dies at the age of 86. The gematria of blood sacrifice. And then he dies 331 days after the commissioner of the NBA, Adam Silver's last birthday, the 67 prime. And also, he's also remembered for playing alongside Wilt Chamberlain. And Wilt Chamberlain passed away on October 12, 1999. And I want you guys to notice this, right? So, October 12th. I mean, that's all this stuff is. You have to measure from dates on the calendar and just the gematria of their name. You know, one of the reasons Mr. Jerry West, if you guys are familiar with Jerry West, he wore the number 44 as a player. Just look at the thumbnail of this video. His name in gematria sums to 44. That's the number that he wore as a player. They do this all the time with jersey numbers. But October 12, 1999. Today is 257 months. 257 months and 10 days after the death of Wilt Chamberlain. Of course, blood sacrifice also sums to 257, just like the Los Angeles Lakers. So it's an interesting how Mr. Elgin Baylor dies in connection to not only Jerry West, not only Wilt Chamberlain, but also the commissioner and LeBron James. It's just unbelievable how perfect this stuff is all the time. If you measure from today to the commissioner's upcoming birthday is 34 days from now. Murder is also 34. And the Los Angeles Lakers, they just won the championship on October 11th of last year. And today is 163 days since the championship game. And, of course, that's the 38th prime number. Natural causes sums to 38. Supposedly that's where Elgin Baylor died from, natural causes. He just died naturally at the age of 86. But the word murder, death, killing, RIP also 38. And these are his stats here. He played 846 games for his career. They called him Mr. Inside, Rabbits, Motor Mouth, TikTok, Aches and Pains. So he had some very interesting aliases. I will put up here, puppets, fraud, Jesuit, but they're not going to put that up there. They're going to call him Motor Mouth. But notice he retired at the age of 37. Los Angeles equals 37. Now, if LeBron James wins a three-peat, he'll win at the age of 37. Los Angeles is 37. He also retired in the year 72. Elgin, Baylor, some said 72. Let me show you. It's just crazy how, this stuff is so perfect. They've been doing this since the 70s. So it's his full name, right? So what's this guy's full name? So yeah, his middle name is Gay. So Elgin Gay Baylor. So he retires in the year 72, and his name sums to 72 forwards and backwards. So in case you guys are new here, gematria, it's simple. It's the alphabetic order, right? A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Instead of letters, they are incorporating numbers where the letters go. So A is the first letter, it sums to 1 in the alphabetic order. B is the second letter, sums to 2. C is the third letter, sums to 3. This cipher, you convert the double-digit letters into single-digit numbers, right? J is the 10th letter. You add the numbers together to compress it and make it a single-digit number. So J is 1 plus 0 is 1. J becomes 1 when you reduce it into a single-digit number. Then you have the two ciphers where you flip the alphabetic order in reverse. In this cipher, A is 26, and Z is 26. No, excuse me. Z is 1, A is 26. And then this cipher, A is actually 8 because 2 plus 6 equals 8. So you convert A into a single digit by adding 2 plus 6, right? 2 plus 6 is 8. That's how you convert it into a single digit number. A forwards is 1, A backwards is 26. Simple stuff. So when you write out Baylor, it also sums to 73. The term sacrifice sums to 73. Notice the 28. Let me show you guys something about today's basketball game. The Clippers versus the Atlanta Hawks. So this is a free pick that I'm going to give out on YouTube. I usually put out sports picks on Patreon, but since this ritual happens, I might as well just discuss it just so you guys can see how they script the games and they also murder the same people participating in these NBA games. It's just sick what they do. This is why we have to expose it. The Clippers, notice they're 14-6 at home. If they win, they become 15-6. Now, their next opponent at home is the Philadelphia 76ers. Philadelphia 76ers sums to 156. So they'll have a record of 15-6 at home when the Philadelphia 76ers visit them in their next home game. Nate McMillan, that is the head coach of the Atlanta Hawks. He is 8-0 for the season. Today is the 81st day of the year. And he's playing against the Los Angeles Clippers. I'll just show you guys how the Los Angeles Clippers sums to 81. That's why the former executive is dead on the 81st day of the year. So Nate McMillan can become 8-1 versus the Los Angeles Clippers on the 81st day of the year. The day that Elgin passes away. Right? And then they'll become 15-6. And then notice the 28. Remember, Baylor equals 28. The Clippers are going for their 28th win of the season. And then the Hawks will pick up their 21st loss of the season. And Baylor is also 73 to 21st prime. So one team is going to pick up their 21st loss. The other team is going to pick up their 28th victory of the season. And pay tribute to Mr. Baylor. Right? And notice the one-eye symbolism here. I mean, it's just, yeah. What a coincidence. The guy was 5,700 days old, and his favorite baseball team wins 5-7. Wow. And that's also a special number. Scottish, right? Sums to 57. Yeah, but he dies. Mr. Baylor dies 67 days before Jerry West's upcoming birthday at the age of 86. The gematria of blood sacrifice. So this man did not die naturally. He was murdered. I think we got that out the way. I think we made that very clear in this video. But those of you Kobe Bryant fans out there, let me show you guys something about Kobe. This is all in my book. It's right up there. Kobe Bean Bryant. scored 81 against the Toronto Raptors. His name sums to 81. So that's why Kobe Bryant scored 81. It's not because Jalen Rose couldn't stop him. That's not the reason. It's because the games are rigged. Like Kobe Bryant, his first and last name sums to 41. I could talk all day about that number. How old was he when he passed away? He was 41 years old. He died 157 days after his birthday. He wrote a book named Dear Basketball, which he released. He released the book on the 113th day of the year. Dear Basketball is not only 41, but it's also 113, just like Kobe Bryant. Go look up the release date of Dear Basketball. The poet, Kobe Bryant. Yeah, you got to be a poet to fool so many people day after day. I mean, it is poetry. April 23rd, right? So April 23rd. What year was that? 2017. This fraud puts out the book on the 113th day of the year. On a day with 37 numerology. Los Angeles 37. Undeniable. And I could talk all day. I mean, I wrote a 3-page chapter on Kobe Bryant. But yeah, on 322, Mr. Elgin Baylor passes away at the age of 86. So rest in peace to him. And just one last point. The upcoming NBA Finals, it's 109 days from now. Los Angeles is 109. And yeah, that's it. There's probably a lot more to this ritual, but do we need to see more numbers to get convinced that something is going on? Like how today's a day with 66 and 30 numerology, and Lakers are 66 and 30 like LeBron. Do we need more numbers? I mean, I'm convinced already. But, you guys like more numbers because this is not enough. It's not enough that blood sacrifice sums to 67 and 86. We need to know about the moon and the eclipses and, other things to get our point across. Just want to see Pope Francis. He was born on December 30th. So, that's the mastermind behind all this, right? Mr. Pope Francis. The guy that comes into your city with a bulletproof vest. Oh, yeah, perfect. 85 days after Pope Francis' birthday. Basketball was 85. Just perfect. Oh, no, excuse me. That's actually wrong. It's December 17th. It was 95 days. So 95 is definitely an interesting number. Today's also a day with 46 numerology, and sacrifice is 46. So 95. I saw that number earlier today. You can also say it's his 96th day of his age. Lakers is 96. Lakers is 96. So, but the 95 does ring a bell. I did see that earlier when I was decoding this story. Yeah, but I'll leave it there. I mean, let's see if the Clippers become 15-6 at home today. And Nate McMillan falls to 8-1 for the season. Let's see if that happens. Oh, what a joke. You guys enjoy the rest of your Monday. Take care, everybody.